leaving the program in course unit basis or modular basis. Then we identify learning outcomes for each module, determine approach to teaching, learning and assessment, check whether key generic and subject-specific competences are covered, what we wanted to cover at the very beginning, describe the program and course unit, check balance and feasibility. And of course, implement, monitor, improve. It's not ending circle. It never ends, you know. And being practitioners, we know that. Now, development of the module goes through more or less the same stages. But I want to warn you, and you will see, and I'm sure you've already encountered, a very, very different understanding of module in Europe. But here again, we work on premises of what is in ECTS. That module is a course unit in a system where each course unit carries the same number of credits, or it's multiple. So it's a kind of 5, 10, 15, 3, 6, 9, and so on and so forth. I know it seems simple, but a lot of systems grow with that understanding, and a lot of misunderstanding occurs because of this. So we have to understand what we are talking about first. And of course, small modules, it's always better for the teachers. They are more specialized, most probably, but more disintegrates with the whole curriculum, the whole study program, the whole curricula. While big modules are clear, they give clear structure and so on and so forth, but they are more difficult to transfer. But the decision is the institutional one. So whatever. At my own institution, some faculties went for the module of 15 as the smallest unit. I wonder, and I always ask, what will happen to internationalization of this faculty, how they are going to accept students, how they are going to send students and recognize students. We will see. That will show. Oh, sorry. And again, we describe aims and competences. Aims are reflected in the module learning outcomes and competences. And of course, they have to be written in the way that they have to be tested. It's one of the most important requirements. We define assessment tasks, we define criteria for grading and assessment, and we define teaching and learning strategy for the module. Now, again, another approach, we have spoken about program perspective. Now I would like to say about student perspective. And we said ECTS is a student-centered student-centered system. So what it gives the students. And again, what I can observe at least in some cases, where the programs moved, they came into terms, with the new philosophy, whatever, but institutional rules remain the same, which is not right. So credit for students is a tool that leads to qualification. They want to get qualification. So for them, the most important two aspects are accumulation and transfer. So accumulation, the student has to know expressively before he enters how many credits, at what level, what type of credits, and when they can gather, they can earn. And for transfer, from what context he can bring in extra credits. Maybe some courses, if they can be recognized, some prior learning, that's fine. So these things have to be described in institutions. And the importance of internal higher education regulations, and I've taken here this in my both red and blue on the screen is yellow and red. I'm always talking about credit thinking of the institution. Not as play word or buzzword or whatever, but how the institution thinks in terms of credit. So here you can find a University of Kent, for example, they talk about aging of the credit. If as a student I left my studies, how long my credits are valid, how many years. After how many years I can come back to higher education and say, okay, I did that. And can you recognize, can I still carry on where I left? So they said credit is valid for 8 years, after if you do not get full qualification. They are talking about compensation. Compensation is something then you marginally fail one of the modules, but you pass others very well, so you get compensated. And they talk about condonement, that is kind of giving credit when, for, let's say, health reasons. And they said, how can it be possible, right? I don't know. In my country, it would be not possible to get a credit for health reasons, you know. You have to pass, and that's it. But just very basically, we are talking about competences and learning outcomes. And we have a student who has a problem, let's say, he is autistic. And one of our learning outcomes or competences to be developed is teamwork. We have to be rational. We wouldn't be able to develop this competence. We need to separate, even to test them separately, have separate room for testing, you know, for him to pass the exam. So condonement, you know, how we behave, how we allow to use the credit is very important. Another very important, and this is a quote from institutional rules, are that when a student is granted exemption from part of the program of the study on the basis of credit transfer, the marks obtained by the student for such prior learning will not be used for classification purposes. That means they are not looking into grades. So if the student has transferred, and I've seen a lot of cases, from one institution to another, from one country to another, they recognize the student's credits. They do not count into qualification, the grades. So it's another way of assessing student progress, another way of saying that student has achieved and done whatever he has done. In most cases, we still think in terms of grades. They say there are other ways to see the progress. So practically, that is all. I don't know how coherent I have been, but I think discussions will clarify that. But I think that the puzzle notion is still there, and I hope that we'll be able to put it together, all of us, and be able to communicate to each other, not only at our own institutions, but among the countries as well. Thank you very much for your attention.